everybody, and welcome to the intersection of sports and marketing. I'm Cristiano, and this is episode 14 of Out of Scope. And today, I'm going to talk about the connection between cycling and business. All you marketers out there need to listen to this.
Sports marketing expert Cristiano.
Cristiano.
Marketers and advertisers and brands always have to keep in mind, you have to play to the state of your audience.
Endurance sports athletes are absolutely fanatics.
Having a Facebook page doesn't get you any business, but doing it right can be quite effective.
All right, and it's episode 14. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about business and a little bit less about marketing and how I find a correlation between cycling and running a business. I think it's really interesting to me. And for anybody who doesn't know, we sponsor a bike racing team here in New York City. I race on it as well. And it takes a lot of time and dedication. Actually, some of the guys raced this last weekend, got some pretty good results. And it takes up a lot of time. That's the tough part about cycling. And one of the interesting things right now, personally in my life, is Bold here, the business is doing really incredible. We're adding accounts and employees and we're expanding. We're finishing our new offices here down in the financial district. So things are going really, really well. And that's fantastic, but as somebody who's also very competitive on the personal side of life and races competitively on the team, it's very hard balance. It requires between 12 and 15 hours a week of hard training on the bike to get better and to improve. And it's very hard to find that time when you're dedicating 200% of your time and energy into growing a company. And what I've found is that cycling and business actually have a lot in common, and I find a very common thread between what I do on the bike and the results I get in business. These are actually some new water bottles we just got in for the team, by the way. Pretty cool stuff. But what I see is it's very clear the amount of time and effort and energy that you put into the bike or you put into the business, you get out those results. It's a one-to-one ratio. What you put in is what you get out in either one. And it's very clear if I go and put in 12 to 15 hours on the bike and I'm training the way that I'm supposed to, then I see those results a few weeks later, a few months later. If I put that same amount of time and energy and we're here just absolutely killing it and working as hard and as smart as we can, then we also see those results in the business. The business grows, we get new clients, we're doing new things, we're trying out new technology. And so it's a clear correlation between the time and energy that you put in to what you get out of it, both in cycling and in business. But the thing is, it has to be the right time and the right energy spent or you get nothing out of it. You can go and ride your bike for 15 hours a week and you may never get faster. You have to know how to train during those 15 hours a week to get faster, to get better, to win a race. And it's the same thing in business. You can be in your office 80 hours a week, but that doesn't mean that you're actually excelling or creating anything or getting any better or getting new business. You have to put the right things in. And another thing that I found very interesting that correlates between business and cycling is interval training. In cycling, the way that you get faster is by doing very, very hard efforts that aren't sustainable for a long period of time and then taking short rest breaks in between those hard intervals. So for example, there's many different types. One type of interval that is brutal but really helps the top end speed of cycling is 40-20s, right? You're going 40 seconds almost as hard as you can and then 20 seconds very easy. And then 40 seconds almost as hard as you can and then 20 seconds very easy. And you repeat that over and over again in different sets. And weeks later, months later, you start to see how much easier longer efforts become. And it's because you're able to put in these really high-end bursts of energy and then recover from those bursts of energy and then repeat those efforts that you're then able to create that muscle memory. You're then able to grow those muscles and adapt to that training load. And I think it's the exact same thing in business where, you can't be 200% on 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You're gonna burn out. There's no way to sustain that level of energy. But you need to be able to have 200% energy at times when the time is right. right? It might be in a pitch meeting when you're looking for a new client, or you're going out and you're contacting new business, or you're working with an employee on a new project. You might need to have all that excitement and that energy and that enthusiasm and staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning doing the research or working with the team. You need to be able to do that. That's the interval. But you need to be able to recover from that interval so that you can repeat that level of effort. Otherwise, you burn out. And I see the same thing in business where you hit that 200% level and you come out of a meeting and you might need to then just chill out and send some emails, make some phone calls, do some paperwork. It doesn't mean that you stop the effort. It's the same thing in cycling. It doesn't mean you stop the bike. It doesn't mean you stop pedaling. It just means you don't work at that level of intensity. And the recovery periods are very short. And I see the same thing in business. And I see that when I apply that same interval methodology to what we do here at Bold and what I do in business, it works out very well. It's going as hard as you can, as fast as you can, as fast as your mind will allow you, moving quickly, making fast decisions, and then taking a quick step back, reassessing the situation, looking at what's going on, understanding it, absorbing it. Not moving around at 200 miles an hour, because if you move that fast, you're like a chicken with your head cut off. You don't know what direction you're going. So it's moving 200 miles an hour and then moving 10 miles an hour to make sure you're still looking at the business as a whole. Where are we going? What clients are we working with? Are we profitable? What's happening tomorrow? What are we working? What are our big goals for the next year, for the next 5 years? And then getting right back into moving 200 miles an hour. And I see that correlate to success at Bold. And I see that correlate to success on the bike. And it's very clear cut. I think the other thing is road cycling, bike racing, it's very deceiving. It's not always about the strongest person winning. It usually comes down to who has the best endurance, because these events are very long. And yes, there's high intensity efforts and hill climbs and sprints and so on. But it's about the person that can get to the finish line with the most amount of energy left or ahead of the group. And you only get that by working on endurance. And in business, I think it's the exact same thing. So many companies, so many people, so many startups want to move 200 miles an hour. They don't want to stop. And they're not thinking about the long term. They're thinking about making $1 tomorrow or $1 today. They're not thinking about what the company's going to do in a year from now or what a company's going to do 5 years from now. And that's where I've seen the success. When I really started hitting my stride in business 5, 6 years ago, I've been doing this for 14 years, but I'll admit that 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 7, was when I really hit my stride, really understood it, really started to make some gains in business and grow a company. And that's when I noticed that, is when I stopped worrying about what's happening today and what's happening tomorrow, and I started thinking about what's happening a year from now. Where are we going 5 years from now? How are we going to get there, and what are we doing to connect the dots? That's the endurance game. That's the long-term play. That's how your business thrives in the long haul. That's how you're there at the finish line, and that's how you're successful. It's the same thing in cycling. It's the same thing in business. So I think there's a lot that can be learned from sports in general. If you're into running, if you're into endurance sports, if you're into basketball, whatever it may be, I really genuinely think that if you look at how that feels when you're out there and you look at how it feels when you're in business, there's a lot of similarities and you can apply both to each side. The last correlation that I'm going to share is, when you're on the bike, bike racing is a painful sport. It hurts, it's painful, it's a tough sport. Your legs burn, your lungs burn, your heart, everything in your body is telling you to stop, but you have to push past that threshold. You have to continue to work within that pain so that you can continue to move forward, so that you can potentially win. And I think business is identical to that. It's when gets hard, when stuff is tough, when business isn't going the right way, when you lose that client. That's the pain. That's when everything wants to shut down and you want to say, forget it. This isn't worth it. This isn't worth my time. But that is the key moment where success is right around the corner. It's pushing through that pain to the point of where you get to the other side and all of a sudden you're at the finish line. There it is. You're in the sprint. Success is there. You can taste it. It's about pushing through that threshold in business and on the bike. And I've been on the bike where I've been in that pain cave and I was like, I can't push any further. And then all of a sudden 30 seconds later goes by and I'm still doing it. A minute goes by, 2 minutes goes by, 5 minutes go by, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know I could push myself this hard, this far. And I've had some times in business where I've been like, man, what am I doing this for? Why is this happening? And then all of a sudden I literally put myself back into that position when I was on the bike feeling these. All right, so apparently the battery died in the middle of that last shot, and we're not gonna go back and redo the whole thing. So to kind of sum up where I was going with that is those moments, that's when you know you have to push through, that the finish line is right around the corner, and if you can push through those tough moments, that's where success lies, whether it be cycling or whether it be business. So with that, thank you for watching episode 14 of Out of Scope. I thank you so much. And you know what? Actually, since we're on the topic of business and expanding, we're actually having a logo put up on the wall over there. There's a lot of stuff, construction and things going on here at Bold all at once. So it's a little crazy ending. This is how we end a Tuesday here at Bold. But anyway, so thank you all so much. I really appreciate you watching. Please like, share, comment. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you hated. We're trying different formats. Today was a little bit different. So if you liked it, let me know. If you didn't like it, let me know that too. And while we're talking about the bike racing team, make sure we actually have a really good Instagram feed for them. It's bold_EWX, Bold Racing Endurance Works. So make sure to check it out, follow them, follow us, and thanks again. Make sure to tune in for episode 15. You mean we have to do that whole thing over? The battery died? Seriously, dude?
Yeah, it happened.
All right. Well, you know what? We're not doing it over.